Gracias a usted, Rafael.
Thank
A
you,
continuación, le
Rafael.
damos la
Next,
bienvenida
we
a Guillermo
welcome
Morán.
Guillermo
Él es el
Morán.
director de
He
TUNACONS y
is
tiene a
TUNACONS
cargo la
director, and he's
presentación
in
del
charge
plan de acción
of
que
the
se va a
presentation of the
ejecutar
action plan that
por
will be
consecuencia de este
implemented
memorándum de entendimiento.
due
Adelante.
to this MOU. Carry on.
Probando, ok.
Testing? Yes, okay, good.
Buenas tardes con todos.
Good
Las
afternoon,
autoridades
everyone.
presentes,
Authorities
compañeros
here,
pescadores, compañera presidenta de la
fishers,
FENACOPEC,
president of
compañeros de los gremios,
FENACOPEC,
todos los aquí
people from the
presentes, nuestro
guild,
querido amigo
and
Alejandro Moya,
everyone
que
here. We
siempre
have
está
Alejandro
cerca del
Moya
sector
here.
pesquero.
He's always
Gracias
here
y
from the
gracias al
fishing
equipo
sector.
de
Thank you, and
TUNACONS y Azul
thanks to
Sostenible por
TUNACONS
haber
and
organizado
Asus
todo este evento.
Sostenible for putting
Quiero
this event
hacerles una
together. I would
explicación
like to
justamente del resultado de
explain
este
here the
memorándum de
results of
entendimiento.
this MOU.
Surgió ya un plan de
And
trabajo, un
as
plan de
that, we
acción
got an
sobre qué
action plan
actividades
and
vamos a priorizar aquí
work
en
plan on
Galápagos
the
en
activities
relación
that will be
con el sector
prioritized
pesquero
here in
artesanal de
Galapagos
Galápagos.
in relations
Cuidando
to the
Galápagos es la
artisan
iniciativa que
fishery
hemos
sector in
denominado
Galapagos. Taking care of
las
Galapagos is the
5
initiative
organizaciones que están
that
aquí
we've
presentes,
called
TUNACONS,
in the
CORPAG,
5 organizations that we
FENACOPEC,
have here,
el Canal de
TUNACONS,
Pesquería TUNEC.
CORPAG,
Y la idea,
FENACOPEC,
pues,
the Chambers of
inicialmente
Fisheries.
comenzando este proyecto es para
And
reducir la
here,
contaminación
the idea
marina
is to
a través
reduce
de
sea
procesos de
pollution through
estrategias de recolección de basura y de
strategies
plantados que
of
estén cercanos y que se evite el varamiento
waste
aquí en las
collection and
islas. Y
fats so
asimismo la
that we can
asistencia técnica para el
prevent
manejo
fats
sostenible de
from
las pesquerías
being
artesanales de
in
Galápagos.
the
Este es
islands. In this way,
el
we are
inicio de este
working
plan de
on the
acción de estos
sustainable
temas que son para
management of
nosotros
fisheries
relevantes.
in
Y
Galapagos.
para
These are
llegar a esto,
relevant
pues,
topics, and to
sigamos la
do
otra lámina,
this, let's
pues
go to the
cuando
next
surgió esta
slide.
parte de
Well,
la
as
tercera cumbre
this
pesquera que se
third
organizó, ustedes
fisheries
recordarán aquí en
summit that
Galápagos
was
el
organized
año
here in
pasado, en enero
Galapagos
del año
last year,
pasado,
in
pues
January
uno de los
last year,
acuerdos,
well,
una de las
one of the
conclusiones fue
agreements or
impulsar
one
en
of the
coordinación con
conclusions
las
was
organizaciones
promoting
pesqueras de aquí
together with fisheries
de Galápagos un
organizations
plan
here
de
in
acción que
Galapagos an
permita
action plan that will
iniciar la
allow us
reducción
to
de
begin
impactos
with the
provocados por el sector
reduction of the
pesquero, pero también
impact
por otras
provoked by the
actividades
fisheries
humanas que afectan
sector
áreas
and
de la
other
actual
human
reserva
activities
marina que se
having an
consideran
impact in
especiales por
areas of
su
the current
biodiversidad.
marine reserve that is so
TUNACONS
very
el
special
año
due to
pasado
its
contrató
biodiversity.
durante
Last
el
year,
2021 una
TUNACONS
empresa,
during
a la empresa
2021
Nave
hired
Consultores
Nave
para desarrollar una
Consultores to
propuesta de
carry
plan de
out a
acción para temas
proposal for an
claves
action
que
plan
se
for key
determinaron como
points that were
prioritarios
determined as
para apoyar la
priorities
conservación de la reserva
to
marina.
support the
El
conservation of
trabajo
the
tuvo
marine
la
reserve.
participación activa
The
de los
work
gremios
had the active
pesqueros y
participation
sus
of
especialistas.
fishing guilds
Un
and
breve
their
análisis que
specialists.
hizo
A brief
el equipo
analysis
consultor
carried out by the consulting
que se
team
contrató como TUNACONS y que
that
estuvo
we hired
participando
as
con las
TUNACONS and
organizaciones pesqueras
that was participated with the
intercambiando
fishing
criterios, pues, en
organizations
primer lugar, pues,
exchanging
una de las
criteria. And so first,
conclusiones de este análisis es
one
que
of the
hay
conclusions of this
todavía
analysis
una
is that
limitada gestión
there
de
is
las
a still
cooperativas pesqueras que han
limited
surgido, por lo que han
management
surgido
of
otros
fishing
modelos de
cooperatives.
asociatividad
Therefore,
para la
other
comercialización de la
association
pesca. Hoy en día hay 4 cooperativas, 2
areas have been
asociaciones.
developed. We
Las
have
cooperativas,
two
las primeras
cooperatives,
cooperativas
two
fueron creadas en
associations. The first
1994,
ones were created
antes
in
del boom del
1984
pepino.
before the boom of
Estuvieron
sea cucumber, and here
afiliados varios
we
pescadores
had the
y debido
affiliation
pues
of several fishers,
diferentes
and due
dificultades,
to
pues
different
cambios de legislación,
difficulties, changes in
procesos de
legislation,
insolvencia, dificultad para poder llevar
liquidity
adelante las organizaciones.
problems,
Hoy en día, pues,
difficulty to move
una
forward with the
tercera parte
organizations,
del
a
registro de
third
pescadores
part
artesanales
of
figura
the
como activos, es
registry
decir,
of
hay
artisan
aproximadamente
fisheries,
1.100
and that
pescadores
represents
artesanales registrados, pero
1,100
realmente
artisans,
están operando
artisan
aproximadamente
fishers
300 pescadores
recorded, but about
artesanales que son los más
300 of
activos en
them
este
are
registro.
working, and
También
they're the
existe
most active
asociaciones de
ones in this
comerciantes, asociaciones de chefs,
record.
de
In these
restaurantes, de
records,
productores
we
agrícolas que
have
están relacionados a la
associations
cadena pesquera
in
local.
relation
Más
with
adelante,
the
las
local fishing
cooperativas
chain as well.
tienen dificultades
Cooperatives
internas que tienen
have
que ser
internal
fortalecidos desde el punto de
difficulties.
vista
They
de la
need to be
organización
strengthened
pesquera,
from the
ya sea
fisher's
por los
point of
estados
view,
financieros, ya
whether
sea por problemas
through
internos
financial statements,
de
internal
los pagos de cuota de
problems
los pescadores,
of the
y esto
payments
hace que la
of the
dinámica de las
fees of
cooperativas en
fishers,
sí
and this
no
makes the
funcione como es
cooperatives
adecuado,
not
y por eso hay que
to
seguir
work as
trabajando en el
such, these
fortalecimiento
credit
de estas
unions not to
organizaciones
work as
pesqueras.
such, and
La
so
mano
we
de
need
obra,
to
de acuerdo
work
a este
on
análisis,
more
pues es
on these
longeva,
fisheries
no hay una
associations.
renovación
So
constante como
there is
debería
no
haber,
constant
y eso pues
renovation
es un tema que
either.
fue
So this
analizado
is
y
something
encontrado
that
en
was
este
analyzed
breve
and
análisis.
found
Vamos
in
más
this brief
adelante.
analysis. Let's
Existe
move forward.
una
There
pesquería de
are
diversidad de especies marinas,
fisheries of a
ya sea de
diversity
langostas de pesca
of
blanca, que son
species, lobster,
especies que se capturan
whitefish,
aquí en
which are the
Galápagos,
species caught
pero
here
de
in
acuerdo a
Galapagos.
las consultas que se
But in
hicieron, pues las
accordance with the
pesquerías lucen al
consultations
borde de una
made with
explotación, a veces
fisheries,
sobreexplotada,
some
o
of them are
desconoce su condición.
overexploited, or they are
Existen
not, their
pesquerías de las
conditions
cuales
is
se
not. Now
desconoce el
there are
estado del recurso.
fisheries where
Estas
we
pesquerías
know
son
the
de
state of
the two-thirds these fisheries are local, and so all of them have exports markets. Fisheries that are fully exploited are lobster, yellowfin tuna, and swordfish. And however, there is a lack of clear knowledge from the scientific and technical point of view of the state of situation of the populations that are caught here in the Marine Reserve, and then this diagnosis led us into what we're going to see later on, which is developing sustainability processes as we are doing in the continent, which is the example, and more than anything, the experience that we bring to the artisan sector here in Galapagos. So here we have regulations. Here we are talking about the regulation of long lining. There have been difficulties. We know that there are experimental projects here on this fishing gear. However, conclusions haven't been reached just yet. The organizing method hasn't been seen either. So in this case, this needs to agree with the archipelago, even though these conservation measures are there, they haven't really helped fishers to be able to grow. Actually, we've seen that conservation measures are harder every time. The closure of lobster now is almost 8 months. Before there were less. Sea cucumber is only open when it's recovered. Recently, we had a sea cucumber opening after almost 10 years. So we believe this fisheries management is not appropriate, and therefore technological innovation to prevent the fishing sector to be there will have other alternatives from the technological point of view. From the economy point of view, here we have the central bank that determines a certain of activities in Galapagos economy, and it's based in services. It constitutes 95% of the gross added value, which is the GDP of Galapagos, out of which the fishing sector represents only 3% in accordance with the central bank's data. It is not that I'm crying, but it's hot here. In this economic analysis about the gross added value in Galapagos and the services in Galapagos, Galapagos has grown as 2014, 2019, and then here the gross sector is this added value in the fishing sector in between 2014 and 2019 has decreased from 6 to 3%. So this is a sector that hasn't been able to grow, even though Galapagos has grown in other services and other activities. So this is an indicator that states that there is a problem there of generating or being more active in Galapagos economy, and this might be analyzed with other aspects that have a representation of the gross added value within Galapagos economy. However, we need to acknowledge that this is a strategic sector, and a strategic sector mainly in the most difficult moments as in the pandemic. In the pandemic, as you know, and we all know, we were here last year. The fishing activity actually helped feed the population, and they even generated work sources from the tourism sector. People working in tourism went to fishing because this was the only activity that was kept. It's not that there was a growth as a fishing sector because prices decreased, at least based on the consultant analysis. They were reduced to almost half, and there was an economic crisis. And even though the fishing sector demonstrated it was a strategic sector in the local economy, mainly to provide food and sources, work sources. Let's go further.
Vemos que el sector turístico
Here we
ha tenido
see
un
that the
crecimiento
tourism
constante
sector has
del
had a
6%
constant
anual, en
growth
promedio, de
of
acuerdo a
6%
los últimos 30 años, de
yearly
acuerdo a los datos
in
que
average
observó
of
el
the last
consultor,
30
con
years with the
excepción
data
obviamente del 2020.
consulted by the
Sin
consultant
embargo,
with the
es una
exception
actividad
of
que sigue
2020. However,
creciendo
this is an
y eso
activity that
demanda servicios,
continues
demanda
growing and
obviamente
this
otros
demands
tipos
services
de inversiones
and other sorts of
para cuidar los
investments
impactos en
to
Galápagos.
take care of
Dentro
the
de eso, la
impact of
contaminación marina.
Galapagos within this sea
Vamos más adelante.
pollution. Let's
Y
move
bueno,
forward,
aquí
and
vemos que también la
here
asistencia
we
técnica
also see the
es
technical
la asistencia
assistance
técnica generada por todas las
generated
entidades
by
consultoras,
all of
ONGs,
the
agencias
bodies,
estatales, también
consulting
es una fuente
companies,
de
NGOs,
servicios
state
dentro de la
agencies
economía de
are a
Galápagos,
source
una
of
fuente
services
sumamente
in the
importante
Galapagos
y el
economy,
sector
which
también
is very
turístico. Son dos
important, and
fuentes
also the tourism
sumamente
sector. These
importantes que son
are
dinámicas
two
y
very
que sí
important dynamic
ayudan a la economía
sources
local de
that
Galápagos.
help the local economy of
En
Galapagos.
base a esto, pues nosotros,
So
el
based
consultor
on
preparó
this,
con
the
todos los actores del
consultant
modelo, que son los
prepared
actores
with all
justamente
of the
que están en el
model
memorándum de
sectors, and they are
entendimiento,
the ones
una
in the
serie, un
MOU,
ciclo
a
de modelos que
series
podría
of
seguir con
models
varios componentes
that
ir
have
hacia un
different
camino de
components
las pesquerías
leading
sostenibles,
towards
comenzando
sustainable
con actividades que
fisheries,
tenían relación
beginning
con
with
reducir la
activities that
contaminación
have
marina y también
pre-
generar un
an
proceso de
impact, for
sostenibilidad
example,
pesquera
reducing
en las
marine pollution and having a
pesquerías artesanales de
sustainability
Galápagos.
impact on artisan
Se
fisheries of
escogieron estos
Galapagos.
tres procesos
These
en
three
base
processes
a la
were
discusión
chosen
o al análisis que hicimos con los
based on
gremios,
the
la
analysis
recolección de
carried out by
plantados
guilds
fuera de las áreas de las
having
islas para
these
evitar
fats out of
que
the
se
island
queden en las
so
islas, que queden
that
encallados, que queden
we
varados.
do not
Reconocemos que
have
hay un problema allí
them
que no es un
in the
problema grave
islands like that.
realmente,
So this
porque
is not a severe
realmente es menos
problem
del
to be
1%
true.
de los
It's
plantados
less
que
than
están
1%
alrededor de
of
Galápagos. Sin
fats
embargo,
around
pensamos que
Galapagos.
vamos a
However, we
desarrollar una estrategia para
believe
recoger esos
that
plantados
we
antes
are
que lleguen
going
a las
to
islas,
find a strategy
procesos de
further
campañas de recolección
coming
de basura marina
into
en los
the
fondos marinos. Nos parece
islands.
que es un tema
So this is
sumamente importante
important.
trabajar con los pescadores
So
artesanales
we need to
porque ellos
work with
conocen las
artisan
áreas donde podemos
fishers
desarrollar
because
estas
they know the
campañas
areas
para
where we can put
recoger
together these
basura
campaigns
marina que
to
no es de la
do
pesca,
this.
sino de
So
las actividades
not in
humanas
fisheries,
aquí
but
en
human
las Islas
activities
Galápagos, que ha
here in
tenido
the
un
Galapagos
crecimiento
Islands, which
constante. Nos
have
parece que esto es
had
un grano de
constant
arena y de
growth. I
apoyo
believe this is support
a la recuperación
for the
de estas áreas que
recovery
podrían
of
estar
these
afectadas por la
areas that might
contaminación.
be
La
affected by
contaminación
pollution.
es el principal
Pollution
problema de
is the
todos los
main
océanos, no solo
problem
aquí en
of all
Galápagos, en
oceans,
el
not only here in
continente y en
Galapagos, in
todo el
the
planeta,
continent, and
y es el
all
principal
over the
problema que
planet.
tenemos todos que
And it is the
combatir.
main problem that
Y
we
la
need to
implementación
face. And
de
then the
proyectos de mejora
implementation
pesquera,
of
que
fisheries
son
improvement
los modelos
projects
que
that
nosotros
are
estamos
models that
desarrollando
we are
en el
developing
continente y que
in the
sirven para que la
continent and
pesquería
that are
sea
used
sostenible
for
e
fisheries to
inclusive
be
tenga mejores
sustainable
rendimientos
and to even
económicos en el
have
momento de
better
promover
economic
un producto que
performance
viene de una
when
fuente sostenible.
promoting a product
Vamos
coming
más
from a
adelante.
sustainable source. Let's move forward, please.
Y hablando específicamente sobre las estrategias
And
de
now
recolección de
specifically
plantados para evitar
speaking
las
about
afectaciones en las
fat
zonas costeras,
collection to prevent affectation
el
in coastal
esquema de trabajo que
areas.
vamos a
Here we
diseñar,
have
bueno, se hicieron
a
varios
work
estudios y
scheme
análisis
that
donde
we are going
podrían
to put together.
los
There were
los
several
plantados
analyses
estar
carried out to see where
cayendo, si es
fats
que
may
necesariamente
be
caen dentro de las
falling if
islas, un
they
poco
come
de acuerdo a
within
las
the
corrientes. Se hizo
islands,
un
just
análisis breve,
based on
vamos
the
más adelante.
current analysis. We carried
Y
out
el
this
esquema que se
brief
propone
analysis,
es
and then the scheme
trabajar
proposed is
con un
working
coordinador local
with a local coordinator
que va a recibir la información del
that will
armador,
get the
nos
information from a
diga
ship
que ahí existe un
owner
plantado que
telling
existe
us that
peligro de
there
que
is a
pueda
fat,
llegar
that there is
cerca de las
danger of
islas.
it getting
Ese
close to the
coordinador va a
islands.
trabajar
This
con un
coordinator
equipo
will
de una
work
cooperativa
with
pesquera
a
que esté
team
más
of
cercana
a
ese plantado
fishing credit
para
union,
que
the one that's
recupere el plantado
closer to this
y lo va a traer a
fat,
tierra
to
a un
recover this
receptor
fat, and it will
donde
bring it
el
to
receptor,
land to a
vamos más
specific
adelante,
sector, as we will see later
el
on,
receptor
where the
va a
receiver
pasar
here
a todo un proceso de pesaje y
will
vamos a separar los
undergo a
materiales que
full
pueden ser
process for
reciclables,
weighing and
vamos a ver los
separating
materiales que no son
recycling
reciclables para
materials, those that are
desecharlos,
not, so that they can be properly disposed,
desecharlos donde, en coordinación con los
properly
municipios
disposed
donde
in
deberían
coordination
ser
with the
desechados y
municipalities
en
where
base
they
a esto pues
actually
generar
have to
un
be
pago al
disposed
pescador
of
por todo este
and
servicio que va a
generate
brindar para
payment to fishers
reducir ese impacto o ese
for the
posible
service
impacto
that they
de
will be
plantados que
providing
lleguen
us
a
for
cerca de
reducing
las
the
costas de las
impact
Islas
or
Galápagos,
possible
¿no?
impact that fats may have in the Galapagos Islands if
El
they came
proceso
here. So
está aquí. Vamos a
the
tener una
process is
secretaría
here. We're
técnica entre
going to have a
TUNACONS y
technical secretariat in
WWF
between TUNACONS, and WWF so that we can carry out a follow-up together with the project coordinator, which will be a person here in Galapagos to implement all of this model this
En el
line
caso de
here.
basuras de la
In
recolección
the
de basuras en
case
fondos marinos,
of
la
trash
idea es tener un
collection
esquema similar
in
al del
the
plantado,
sea
pero organizado con
bottom,
las cooperativas
it's
pesqueras,
similar
de
to what's
donde
happening
ir a
with
las
PATS,
zonas
but
de áreas
working
marinas para
with
poder hacer recolección de
fishers,
basura,
credit
de
unions to see
basura.
where
Gracias.
we can collect this trash.
Gracias.
Thank you.
De basura marina, también ver
Sea
material que
trash and
puede ser
also
reciclado y
seeing
materiales que deben ser
recycling
desechados
materials
en,
and those that need to be
coordinación con los
disposed of
municipios, con
in
el Parque
coordination with
Nacional. Hay todo un
municipalities with the
esquema
national
preparado
park
y estos trabajos también van a ser
so that we
financiados
can
por
put this
un
scheme
fondo que
together,
hemos
and this is
creado con
going to be
TUNACONS, Cámara de
funded by a
Pesquería y
fund
ATUNEC.
that we have put together with
Hablando del tercer
TUNACONS that
componente,
loves
que es el
fisheries and
componente
ATUNEC. So
más complejo de armar,
the
pero el de
most
mayor futuro, en nuestra
difficult
opinión, que es el desarrollo de proyectos de
project to put
mejora
together is
pesquera,
the
que
development
son
of
los FIPs
projects
por
for
sus siglas en
fisheries
inglés,
improvement
en
called
pesquerías con falta de
FIS, fishery
información y
improvements
manejo
projects,
apropiado, que es lo
working
que
on the
hemos
lack of
detectado
information
que
and proper
todavía
management. So
falta
we
que
have
algunas
detected
pesquerías,
that there are
sobre todo en
some
pesca blanca,
fisheries, mainly in
necesitan
white
una estructura
fishing,
para lograr
that need a structure
un enfoque sostenible, que es un
to
FIP, es
get
un
a
enfoque
sustainable
paso a
approach.
paso
What
para
is an
mejorar la sostenibilidad de las pesquerías
FIP?
y llegar a
Is
un
a
estándar inclusive
step-by-step
para tener
approach to
una
improve the
certificación o
sustainability
un
of
sello que
fisheries
garantice
and
que
reach a
está cumpliendo
certification
con
standard
estándares científicos.
warranting that they comply with
Estos FIPs
scientific
asocian a
standards. These
todos los
FIPs
actores
associate
públicos y
multiple
privados para juntos
stakeholders,
trabajar
public-private
en desarrollar
stakeholders,
estos
to work
criterios de
together in the
sostenibilidad.
development of the sustainability
Estos FIPs
criteria.
también son
These
reconocidos
FIP
por
are
los
also
mercados de
recognized
consumo a
by
nivel internacional y también deberían ser
international
reconocidos a
consumption
nivel
markets, and
local
they
y
should also
nacional
be
para
acknowledged
lograr que
locally
el
and
producto que se
regionally
consuma
so
de las
that the
pesquerías
product
venga de una
consumed
fuente
by
sostenible y se reconozca ese trabajo
fisheries with
de las flotas
coming from
pesqueras.
fisheries will be sustainable,
En
and
el
the work
caso
of
que encontremos pesquerías que
fishing fleets
tengan
will be acknowledged. In
posibilidad de
the case we
certificarse
have
a través del
fisheries
FIP
that
que les
will
estaba
have a
comentando
possibility of
antes,
getting
la idea
certified
es
through this
llevarlos
FIP.
inclusive a procesos
The
de
idea
evaluación
would be to
completa
take them
del
into
MSC
full
para
assessment
lograr
processes of the
certificaciones que sean
MSC to
reconocidas
get
por el mercado,
certifications
estos famosos
acknowledged
sellos
by the
azules,
market.
que es
These
una de las de los
famous
sellos más reconocidos en los mercados
blue
internacionales,
stamps
para
are the
determinar
most
si hay especies
acknowledged
que pueden
ones
lograr
internationally to
participación en ciertos
determine
mercados.
that this
Estos proyectos de
species can
mejora
get to
pesquera
certain
o
markets.
los
And
FIPs
actually
están en
these
todo el mundo.
FIPs
Estos
you
modelos
can
que se
see
están
are all over the
usando
world. They
en
are
todas partes del
models that are
mundo para
being used
pesquerías
everywhere
artesanales, pesquerías
for
industriales.
artisan
También lo
fisheries or
estamos
industrial
usando mucho en el
fisheries. We are
continente.
also
TUNACONS es
using
un
that in
ejemplo
the continent.
de avance en ese
TUNACONS
sentido.
is an
Y para
example
que ustedes
of
vean que
progress in
estos son
this
modelos
sense,
que
and
se
so
están
that you can see these
desarrollando
are
en
models
todo,
that are being
en
developed
todos los continentes
everywhere
de
in all
nuestro planeta.
continents in our
En estos
planet.
FIP trabajan todos
So in this
en
FIP,
conjunto.
we
En
have
el caso
everyone working
de TUNACONS,
together.
el FIP de
In the case
pelágicos
of
pequeños que lleva la Cámara de
TUNACONS,
Pesquería, pues
the small
reúnen a todos los
pelagic
actores en el entorno justamente de
species
un plan de acción
puts together
específico para
all
cada pesquería
stakeholders, and
y
then
en
we have
base a estos
action
actores
plans
pues
for each
recoger
fisheries, and based on
ideas
the
y desarrollar
stakeholders,
juntos
we get
acciones para
ideas, and
remediar
together we
los
put
impactos
together
que se
actions to
encuentren de ese FIP
remediate
que
the
hay que
impacts
remediar para
detected
lograr
to be
objetivos de
remediated to
sostenibilidad.
reach sustainability objectives.
Los tres principios que se manejan
The
siempre
three
base
principles managed based
sello
on
azul
this
son buscar
blue
la
seal
sostenibilidad de las
are
poblaciones que son
looking for
objetivos
the
de la pesca,
sustainability of fish
minimizar los
stocks
impactos en el
that
ecosistema,
are
no
fish
solamente nos
target,
preocupamos de
the
que
fishing
esté bien el dorado,
targets.
el atún,
We
el brujo, el
look
bacalao,
for
sino también el
minimal
impacto en el
impact
ecosistema,
to
qué
the
impacto estamos
ecosystems,
generando
the
y
impact
qué
that we're
remediaciones
generating, and the
logramos
rich
desarrollar.
remediations
Y
that we're
también
able
apoyamos
to develop, and we
a
also
las administraciones
contribute
de las
to the
pesquerías,
management of
tanto nacional como
fisheries at national
internacional, como
level
en el
and
caso
international
de
level.
TUNACONS,
In the
trabaja
case
con
of
la
TUNACONS,
Comisión
as
del
we
Atún. Aquí
work with
trabajaríamos de cerca
the
del Parque Nacional, de la Asociación de
TTC,
Pesca y
here
los
we will be
productores
working with the
para
National
fortalecer
Park, the
las
Fishing Secretariat,
pesquerías
to
locales.
be able to work and
La
improve
idea
on
es
local
nosotros
fisheries. So the
como
idea is,
organizaciones identificar las pesquerías
as
claves, hacer
organizations, to look
preevaluaciones
for key
científicas desde el
fisheries,
punto
to
de vista
carry
de
out
cuáles son los problemas
scientific
que tiene cada
assessments,
pesquería.
bearing in
Esas
mind what the
pesquerías pues
problems of each
desarrollar un plan de
fisheries
acción de
are, and then develop
soluciones
a
y
next
trabajar en estas
solutions action
soluciones
plan and
a
working
mediano
in
y
these
largo plazo.
solutions in the medium and long
Cada
term.
una de estas pesquerías
Each
pues tiene
of
un
these
proceso de
fisheries
información
has
que
an
es necesario
information process
trabajar
which
con el
is
Parque Nacional,
necessary to
cuáles son los
work
lugares de
together with the
registro
national
registrar,
park.
cuál es
What
el
are the
número de
current
pescadores,
records
información científica,
regarding fishers,
análisis de impactos en los
scientific
ecosistemas. Es todo un
information,
trabajo complejo
impact
que hay que
analysis
construir
regarding
con
the
mucha paciencia
ecosystem. This is
para lograr
something that
minimizar
needs to
estos
be
impactos, pero
put
trabajar todos en
together
equipo para lograr
by
un
working
estándar
as a team,
científico
by getting lots of
de
expectations and
sostenibilidad-
reaching a
sostenibilidad
high
apropiada
Scientific Sustainability Index to certify fisheries, the first thing that we need to do is review the management model for information of fisheries, and that's what we will do here with fisheries, having good traceability of fisheries. As we were discussing with the mayor here, it is important to have traceability what happens at the fishing place to the consumption place, which can be local in Ecuador or exportation. So we need to put all of this together and to build. And this is a lot of work, but this is an important construction process. Just an example of what we're talking and that we want to bring as experience the fisheries of Galapagos, everything that we're doing with long lining, with the small pelagic species. These are fisheries improvement projects, and TUNACONS has been one of the main examples of working with these topics. This is what we have worked on with an important ally, which is also here, Pablo, who represents the WWF, coming with us in all of these processes to work together and cooperate together in this fisheries improvement projects. We see here a little bit of what we developed. In a summary, you can access TUNACONS website and see all of the activities that we have developed for release of bycatch, release the living ones, reducing pollution with biodegradable fats, and several other activities we have developed. And actually, Ecuador is leading this worldwide. We're innovators actually in the management of fisheries with innovating solutions. As the diagnosis was saying, here in Galapagos, there is management, there's no fishing, innovation to look for production. This is something that we found. A little bit of what we're developing and that we have advanced on. These are 100% biodegradable fats. Those are eco fats. We have worked on this together with the EU. These are FIPs with proper results. Let's move forward, please. And well, it's not that we do everything. Our fisheries improvement project entails having stakeholders, and of course, we'll work together into developing a FIP, a good action plan with good objectives, and that's what we need to do here in Galapagos, to get all stakeholders together and so that we can actually get sustainable fisheries. In the proposal that we are setting, the idea is for those to sign those organizations who have signed MOUs. This MOU will be helping national authorities, the Vice Secretary of Fisheries, municipalities, and local international organizations, and others, so that we can have good decision-making basis for working on fisheries. This is the governance model. Local coordination will be in charge of CORPAG, in the hands of Grace-Zunda. She is going to be our coordinator, and she is going to have all of this work. She's not going to work on this alone. Don't be frightened by that. But all of this work with all of the activities we've discussed before in this presentation, we have coordination here in Galapagos with the fishing cooperatives, with organizations, with people of Galapagos, so that working on these activities, you, dear fishers, will feel that we're benefiting not only fishers as such, but we're working on better preserving and conserving Galapagos. So this is challenging model, but it's feasible. When we began with TUNACONS 5 years ago, we saw lots of challenges on the road, several things that took time. We still need to get more time into working with goals, like, for example, the small pelagic species. That's a challenging process led by the Chamber of Fisheries. This is the second largest fisheries in Ecuador besides tuna. So this leads us to put together this process as this work. It's not easy, but we believe there is a good result in the continent. These good results, the idea is to share that with the fisheries of Galapagos. The design of the plan criteria has been worked on with everyone that signed the MOU with the WWF supporting here. And as we've said, What we want to do is to have the conservation of the marine reserve to team up with all public institutions, with fishers, with organizations, and team up so that we can support in the reduction of negative impacts in the marine reserve. And the governance model of our project will be this way. The members who sign guilds and those who sign the MOU, we will have a technical secretariat that will be taken on by TUNACONS with the support of the WWF that will coordinate with the coordinator, with Grace, with the credit units, CORPAG, works and main organizations here in all of the three processes that we've discussed. Fat collection, sea trash, marine trash collection, and fisheries improvement projects. Those who would like to join us will be very welcome. International cooperation as well, the national park, the government board, they will all be welcome to work in this structure. And this is what I had. Sorry if it was too long. The idea is to make a summary of what we will do and to launch the sanction plan so that it can begin today in coordination with Galapagos fishing credit units, with the ATUNEC, Chamber of Fisheries, FENACOPEC, TUNACONS, and with the cooperation and always getting together with public national institutions for this plan to be successful. Thank you very much, everyone.
Muchas gracias, ingeniero. Ahora sí,
Thank you,
vamos a
engineer.
terminar con
Now
unas
we're going to
próximas
begin
palabras
with
cortas.
some short
Antes de
interventions
darle la palabra a
before
la
giving
señora
the floor
subsecretaria que está con
to the
nosotros.
Deputy Secretary who's here with us.
Para
We
ustedes el
have for
saludo
you
del señor
the greetings
viceministro
of the Vice Minister, Andrés Arens, who apologizes for not having been able to come to the islands, but he's aware of all of this project that is taking place and has actually participated in different meetings. So now we're going to play him for him to be listened for a moment.
Buenas tardes a todos los compañeros
Good
pescadores
afternoon to
artesanales
all
de
of
la
our
provincia de
artisan
Galápagos,
fishers in the Galapagos
en las
province,
5
represented in
asociaciones
the
pesqueras
5 fishing
presentes.
associations that are
Buenas tardes
here.
a los
Good
gremios
afternoon
atuneros
to the
industriales
industrial
que
tuna
nos
guilds
acompañan,
that are
a las
here with
organizaciones
us,
no
non-governmental
gubernamentales,
organizations
con
as
énfasis
well,
en
with
la
an
protección de
emphasis
la
in the
biodiversidad,
protection of
a
biodiversity,
los autoridades de las diferentes
the
instituciones
authorities,
públicas,
public
a
institutions,
la Subsecretaría de
and
Recursos
the
Pesqueros y al Parque
Undersecretariat of
Nacional
Fishing Resources and the
Galápagos.
Galapagos National
Gracias
Park.
por estar
Thank you very
presentes en
much
este
for
evento.
being here in
El
this
día de hoy es un
event.
día muy
Today,
importante
it is a very
para el sector
important day
pesquero
for the fishery
y para la
sector
conservación.
and for conservation.
Se lanza por fin,
We are
después de
finally
mucho
launching,
trabajo,
after
el
much
proyecto de
work,
recolección
the
de
project
basura
of
marina
recollection
en las
of
zonas del
marine
Parque
waste in
Nacional
these
Galápagos.
areas of the Galapagos National Park.
Estimados dirigentes, gremios de pesquería, sector industrial,
Dear
sector
people
artesanal,
here,
es un
artisan
grato honor
sector,
para
industrial
tanto el
sector, it is an
Viceministerio de
honor
Acuacultura y
for the
Pesca
Vice
como para la
Minister of
Subsecretaría de Recursos
Aquaculture and Fisheries and the
Pesqueros estar hoy aquí.
Undersecretariat of Fishing
Poder
Resources to be
reconocer
here
la labor
today,
que
to
está
be able to
realizando en la
acknowledge
actualidad
the work
TUNACONS
done
como
by
actor
TUNACONS as an
importantísimo del desarrollo
important
sostenible del
stakeholder of
país.
the sustainable
Siempre es
development of the
importante,
country. It is
tanto en
always
las alianzas, la
important
cooperación
in alliances
público-privada
to
que se
have
tiene que llevar a cabo.
public-private
Si bien
alliances
nosotros
here,
somos
even
el ente
though
rector y
we
regulador
are
de todo
the
el
regulating
ordenamiento
authority
productivo
of all of the
pesquero,
productive
siempre es
calendar
necesaria
in
la
fisheries, it is
participación,
always
el
necessary to
apoyo, el
have the participation,
empoderamiento del
support,
sector privado
and
como tal. Y qué
empowerment
mejor
of
si
the
TUNACONS lo ha logrado hacer y
sector
ha
as such,
combinado
social
esfuerzos tanto
sector,
del
and
sector
TUNACONS has
industrial
put
como del
together
artesanal.
industrial sector
Ninguno
efforts
excluyente
with
del
the
otro. Y eso es
artisan
muy
sector.
importante
They do not
reconocer en
exclude
este
each other,
momento
and
como
it's
lo ha
important to
logrado
acknowledge
TUNACONS
this,
a través
as
de
TUNACONS
todo
has
este
done
proyecto de plan de
through all
mejoramiento
of these
pesquero.
projects for
Realmente, como
the
mencioné, nosotros sí
fisheries improvement plan. We implement the policies, the regulations, we provide the support, productive funding, and also we have a lot to do for Galapagos. What better than actually getting this private support and with the participation of all of the sectors and of all stakeholders in this long path that we still have to walk. Through the Undersecretariat, we actually want to publicly thank the director of TUNACONS, the representatives of the fisheries chambers, CORPAG, and all of the credit unions comprising there, and ATUNEC, sorry, Luigi, ATUNEC. And ATUNEC for always support public institutions that are right here. So as it was said before, the basis needs to come from the private sector. We are the basis and you're the basis and we're the executing hand. We will accompany both sectors. We all go by hand and we're here to accompany you, to provide you with technical advisory, the promotion that we have walked on and the meetings that we have held need to be carried out still. Thank you very much for this project. Thank you for fighting for Galapagos conservation, and what better than actually being at this moment where we have the brotherhood, the Hermandad Marine Reserve. This comes hand in hand, and now from now on we need to continue working together with public-private support just as we've done so far. Thank you very much.
Maximum volume.
En las 5 asociaciones
In
pesqueras
all 5 fishing
presentes. Buenas tardes.
associations here. Good afternoon.
Buenas tardes a todos los compañeros
Good
pescadores
afternoon
artesanales de
to
la
all
provincia
the
de Galápagos,
artisan fishers in the province of
en las
Galapagos,
5
represented in the
asociaciones
5
presentes. Buenas tardes a los
fishing
gremios,
associations here
atuneros
today.
industriales
Good
que
afternoon
nos
to the
acompañan,
industrial and
a las
the
organizaciones
guilds
no
here, those
gubernamentales,
NGOs
con
who are
énfasis
here
en
with
la
us,
protección de la
emphasizing in the
biodiversidad,
protection of
a las
biodiversity,
autoridades de las diferentes
the different
instituciones
authorities
públicas,
of public
a la Subsecretaría de
institutions,
Recursos
the Deputy
Pesqueros y al
Secretariat of
Parque Nacional
Fisheries
Galápagos.
Resources and the Galapagos National
Gracias
Park.
por estar
Thank
presentes
you
en
for
este evento.
being here
El
at
día de
this
hoy es un día
event.
muy
Today is a
importante
very
para el
important
sector
day
pesquero
for the fishing
y para la
sector and
conservación.
for conservation.
Se lanza por fin, después de mucho trabajo,
We are
el
launching,
proyecto de
after lots of
recolección de
work,
basura
the
marina
project of marine
en las
waste
zonas
collection
del Parque
in the
Nacional
areas of the
Galápagos,
Galapagos National
iniciativa
Park,
planteada pues,
initiative
desde el
that
sector
was
privado,
stated from the private
con ayuda y
sector
cooperación
with the
de la
help and
Subsecretaría de
cooperation
Recursos Pesqueros,
of the
guiados
Undersecretariat
y
of Fishing
liderados
Resources,
por
guided and led
TUNACONS
by
y
TUNACONS and
WWF, y
WWF,
con estrecha interacción
and with a
con los
tight
pescadores
interaction
artesanales
with
de
our
Galápagos
Galapagos
para
artisan
concretar y conseguir
fishers
un objetivo
to
de esta administración
make
pesquera, de la administración
feasible
pesquera
and to
del
reach
gobierno del encuentro.
this
Y es trabajar
fishing
todos
administration
juntos
of the
para
government of
conseguir
encountering to
pues,
government
la sostenibilidad de
working
los
all together to
recursos a
get the
través de
sustainability of
ecosistemas
resources
más limpios
through
y más
cleaner,
sanos, que permitan el
healthier
desarrollo de
ecosystems that
actividades
will allow us
productivas
to have the
sin
development of
sacrificar
productive activities
los
without
recursos del presente
sacrificing
y
the
del futuro del
resources
país, en especial en este
today
caso
and to
de
the
los recursos
future of the
pesqueros en
country,
un
in this case,
ecosistema tan
fishing
delicado y tan
resources, in
especial,
such
tan
a
único como el
delicate,
ecosistema
unique
de las Islas
ecosystem as that
Galápagos.
of the
Una
Galapagos
vez más,
Islands.
agradecer
Once
pues,
more, I
las
would like to
voluntades y las
thank the
interacciones
goodwill and
de todos los
interaction
presentes y
of all
participantes
those
en esta
people here
iniciativa,
and those
desearle
who
pues,
participate
éxito
in
a
this
este
initiative. I
proyecto,
want
muy
to
buenos
wish
augurios en sus
success to this
resultados
project,
y adelante
good
con
wishes
este, con
for
todas las
these
iniciativas
results,
para
and carry on
mejorar
with all of
las
the
condiciones de
initiatives to
trabajo de
improve
cada
on the
uno de los
conditions,
ecuatorianos.
work
Muchas
conditions
gracias.
of each and every one of us
Personas que están
Ecuadorians. Thank you very
conectadas vía
much for the
streaming y
people
en el
online
Zoom
via streaming
que se
and in
unen a
Zoom
este evento.
that have
Y
joined
le
us
damos la
in this
bienvenida
event.
a Dani
Are
Rueda.
people
Él es
we
el
would like to
director del
welcome,
Parque
and we
Nacional
welcome
Galápagos, que
now
también tiene
Dani
unas palabras
Rueda,
para el
the
sector.
director of the Galapagos National Park, with some words
Muy
here
buenas
with
tardes con
us.
todos.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Primeramente agradecer la
First of all, I would
invitación.
like to
Guillermo,
thank you
Rafael,
for the
Luigi,
invitation, Guillermo,
Alessandro, muchas gracias
Rafael,
por la invitación.
Luigi, Sandro.
¿Cómo
Thank
no
you very
coincidir
much
cuando se
for the
trata de conservar los
invitation.
ecosistemas de
We
Galápagos,
coincide when we
cuando se
talk
trata de
about
conservar las especies
conserving
de Galápagos?
ecosystems and
¿Cómo no
species of
podemos apoyar
Galapagos?
e
We
impulsar este
support
tipo de
each other
iniciativas?
and
Por
we
supuesto
promote
que
those initiatives
las
together.
regulaciones
Of
de Galápagos
course,
son claras.
Galapagos
Todo lo que está
regulations are
enmarcado
clear.
dentro del
Everything
impulso a sectores
frame within promoting the fisheries sector. Gabriela and all of the people from CORPAG know this, and of all of the credit unions comprising CORPAG. We promote and support these initiatives. We can cite in all of the objectives of Guillermo's presentation. Of course, yes, data is important regarding cleaning ocean waste, coastal waste as well. We have a project for more than 15 years with Conservation International. We collected trash and we classify it and standardize it to make decisions. We cannot go alive just getting trash out. We need to better our conditions so that in the near future, no waste will come into Galapagos. With goodwill and everyone's commitment, we can make things feasible. As the park, we are ready to promote all of the projects that Guillermo has explained. Of course, we need to go deeper in the details of each one of them. I believe the presentation is very valuable, but I have several doubts and questions, mainly for internal knowledge of the institution, but we will be in touch to go deeper in that matter. And please count on us in whatever having to do with Galapagos conservation is. We will always be here to support you. Thank you very much.
A continuación tenemos las
Next,
palabras de
we'll have the
agradecimiento de Juan
words
Carlos Torres, él es
by
presidente
Juan
de
Carlos
CORPAG,
Torres, President
la
of CORPAG,
Corporación de Pescadores
the
Artesanales de
Corporation of
Galápagos,
Artisan
que
Fisheries of
incluyen
Galapagos,
3 cooperativas y
including
2
3 credit
asociaciones.
unions and 2
Don Juan Carlos.
associations. Don Juan Carlos,
Bienvenido.
welcome.
Muy buenas tardes,
Good
con todos los
afternoon,
presentes.
everyone.
Señor alcalde, buenas
Mr.
tardes.
Mayor, good afternoon.
Señorita Diana Zambrano, buenas tardes.
Mrs.
Con todos,
Dana
buenas
Zambrano,
tardes.
good afternoon. Good afternoon,
Compañeros
everyone.
pescadores,
Dear
aquí
fishers,
presentes y
partners,
amigos
hearing, friends
de todas las cooperativas de
of
pesca
all
de
of the
Santa Cruz,
fishing cooperatives
Santa
of
Cruz,
Santa
Isabela y
Cruz,
Cristóbal.
Isabela, and San
Quiero
Cristobal.
decir y
I
resaltar
would like to
este
point
evento
out
con que la actividad pesquera
by saying that
comercial de
fishing,
Galápagos se
commercial
inició
fishing
con
in
los primeros
Galapagos began
pioneros y
with the first
asentamientos
pioneers,
humanos
the
en las
first
islas San
human
Cristóbal,
settlements in San
donde
Cristobal,
soy nativo.
from
Así
where
conocemos
I
la historial
am.
de-
So
relatada por el
we
historial
know the history
activo de la torre y por foto de
stated
la familia Cobos.
by the Cabos family.
¿Cómo constancia
So,
tenemos
as
la
evidence, we
ruina del, ¿cómo
have
se llama? De la Pedrial
the
del
ruins
año 60
of the Pedregal
por la
of the
propiedad de la
60s
Asociación Nacional de
with
Galápagos Songal,
Cogalapagos Shangal
con
Association,
la creación de la nueva Reserva
with
Marina
the
de Galápagos
creation
en el
of
año
the new Galapagos Marine
1988.
Reserve
Nos
in
dividieron al sector
1988.
industrial
We have a
y la
division in
pesca
between
artesanal,
the
proponiéndolo
industrial
a los
and
pescadores de
artisan
Galápagos
sectors,
mejores
and
de
now they
nuestra calidad de vida
proposed
con la
us
inclusividad, con la pesca
improvement
artesanal
with
sostenible
inclusivity, with
en la Reserva
sustainable
Marina de
artisan
Galápagos.
fisheries in the
Entre el
Marine
año-
Galapagos Reserve.
En el año
Now, in
1988 hasta la fecha
1988,
ha
to date,
sucedido lo siguientes.
the
La
following
flota pesquera
has
nacional
happened. The national
esfuerzos
fishing
propios,
fleet, due to
ha
their own
podido
efforts,
superarse,
have been able
siendo hoy un
to
ejemplo
work and
de
get
pesca
better, and now they
sostenible,
are a
teniendo
sustainable
influencia
fisheries
más
example,
allá de
and
la
they
zona
have influence
económica
beyond
exclusiva
the
nacional y
economic
insulares.
sector in the mainland and in the
Con
islands.
cambio, con la flota pesquera artesanal no
With the
ha
artisans
prohibido
fishing
superarnos
fleet,
por tantas
this
a
has
nuestras
not
embarcaciones
allowed
y
us
pescadores.
to do better.
Desde
Since
hace 24 años
24
la
years
creación de la
ago,
Reserva
since
Marina
the
de
creation
Galápagos,
of the
más bien,
Galapagos Marine
hemos
Reserve, actually,
descrecido
we have
una minoría.
stopped growing,
Hay una brecha
and
económica
there is
sostenible
an
y
economic
eventual
sustainable
con
gap
nuestra familia, no
with our
no
families.
teniendo un nivel de vida
We do not have
sustentable,
a
que
sustainable
en contra los
livelihood
principios de desarrollo
against the
sostenible, porque
development
tenemos
principles,
significante
against
unidad
SDGs
en Galápagos.
in the
Por
activity
eso,
we have in
razón
Galapagos.
que
So
en
for
el
this
evento de la
reason,
tercera cumbre
in
pesquera
the event
nacional
of the
celebrada
third
del 24
national
de enero
summit
del 2021
that we
decidimos
celebrated
firmar el
in
Memorandum de
2021, we
Entendimiento
decided to sign the MOU
con TUNACONS,
with
WWF,
TUNACONS, WWF,
con Cámara Nacional de Pesquería
National
Nacional,
Fisheries
la
Chamber,
Asociación de Atuneros
the
del Ecuador, la
Association of
Federación
Tuna
Pesquera
Companies
de
in
Islas
Ecuador,
de Galápagos,
the
para juntos cuidar y
Galapagos
reducir la
Fishing
contaminación
Federation,
marina,
to reduce marine
fortaleciendo
pollution,
también a
strengthening
la capacidad de las cooperativas de
the
pesca de Galápagos.
capacities of fishing cooperatives in Galapagos.
Nosotros agradecemos
We
a los
thank
organizadores del evento
the
porque
organizers of this
con este
event
primer
because
paso
with this
hemos
first step,
analizado el verdadero
we have actually
fortalecimiento del sector pesquero
dynamized the true
en manos de los
strengthening of the
quienes
fishing
sí tienen
sector in
experiencia
hands
en
of
pesca
those who
sostenible
do
y
have
que
experience in
queremos
sustainable
que quieren y queremos
fishing, and we
sostenibilidad
want
en futuras
sustainability
generaciones.
now
Gracias,
and
señores.
for future generations. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very
Esa
much.
fue la intervención de
That
don Juan
was the
Carlos Torres,
intervention of
presidente de
Mr. Juan
CORPAG,
Carlos
la
Torres,
nueva
CORPAG's
corporación
president,
que
the new
agrupa las
corporation,
5 cooperativas
grouping for the
de
5
las
credit
Islas Galápagos.
units of the
Son
Galapagos Islands.
Promar,
We
Copesan,
have
Copaiza,
Promar,
Copropag y
Copaiza,
Azuarma Pesbay.
Copensan,
Las
Soima
5
Bears
cooperativas
Bay,
de
the
las
5
Islas Galápagos.
cooperatives of
Muchas
the
gracias por la
Galapagos
intervención.
Islands.
Así
Thank you very
damos
much
por
for your
concluida
intervention.
esta
This is how we
charla
conclude
de
this
introducción de la
introduction
iniciativa
talk
Cuidando
of
Galápagos.
the Taking
Agradecemos la
Care of
presencia de
Galapagos
todos los que
initiative. We
pudieron
thank the
llegar
presence of
a
everyone
este
that was
local
able
y
to
asimismo las
reach
personas
this
que están
place,
conectadas vía
and also
streaming
the
por
people
Facebook y YouTube
online
de la
through
transmisión
streaming,
de
Facebook
TUNACONS
and
y Azul
YouTube,
Sostenible, donde
and
todos
the
ustedes luego van a
TUNACONS and
poder
Azul
ver esta
Sostenible
grabación en caso de que quieran
streaming. If
recordar
you
algo de
want
la
to see the
presentación.
recording,
Asimismo
if
se va a
you
subir
want to take care
material
of the
didáctico a la
presentation, we
página
will
web
have
de
more
TUNACONS
didactic
y
material to
tal vez
upload it
las
in
cooperativas
TUNACONS
y los gremios que
website,
son
and
parte de
probably
este memorándum
cooperatives
también
and guilds that
suban
are
esta
part of this
información para que
MOU
esté
can
accesible y
upload
pública
this
para todos los
information
que
so
quieran
that it's
acceder a ella.
public and
Muchas
accessible
gracias.
for everyone wanted to
Tomen
get
asiento
it. So
todavía
now,
para una
please be
indicación
seated.
más.
Just one little thing more to tell you.